Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Um, Throwback Thursday is once again a little late, not as late as last week. And to sort of add on to the conversation a lot of people are having about air, I decided to go back to the first air deck I brought to an OCC. Now this is not the first air deck I have ever played in a tournament. I brought air to the 2019 World Championship qualifiers. I would have to look very hard to see if I could even still have that deck. I don't have any recordings of any of those games. Um, and sort of immediately after that tournament, Air Allegiance dropped, Flampanzer came out, a whole bunch of very powerful aggro decks came out. Air dropped off the map, everyone stopped playing it. Um, and for about a year, Air was in and around, like you saw it on ladder, people played it, but it wasn't that popular. And December 2020, so basically a year since Air last saw any real play, um, is when I picked it up on ladder. I saw Blue Blast, from what I remember, I saw Blue Blast play an Air on ladder, and he was having success, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Air is bad. How does he have success with Air? So I picked it and started like hitting crazy win streaks, and I was like, wait, Air's not bad. Air's insane. And I ended up winning the December 2020 season with Air, which was also the first season I'd won with Air. And then in the January 2021 OCC, I decided to bring Air as my Britain deck. Previously, I'd been bringing a lot of Britain US ramp. I think a little bit. I think this is a little bit before I started bringing Britain German discard, but I brought Britain Japan Air. Now, this was the very early versions of Air, and they were better than the versions people were playing in 2019, but a lot worse than the versions we're playing now. Some is just like new cards came out. Spitfire and Wellington are the ones that come to mind. But I think a lot of people take for granted how refined the current air list is. A lot of people, I think, take for granted just like, oh, of course you would put these cards together in a deck. There's a lot of other cards you could run. Like, for example, Burning Sky. Or, not Burning Sky, Burning Sun. People actually ran this to the extent... Like, they ran it to the point where it had to be nerfed. It used to be 2 cost. And we're going to see in my deck, I'm running 2 copies of For the Emperor. Obviously, For the Emperor used to discount the attack and operation of all units, not just Japanese units. So this was way better. Like, I actually think this card is pretty good. It's a really strong tempo card. Especially, you can combine it with HMS. You could play out HMS for the Emperor and then deal 4 damage and bomber attacks for 4 credits. Plus attack with like anything else you have on board. But this is the card that really dropped off the map later. This card looks insane. Like, give a fighter +1 attack and fury. Like, you can turn a mosquito just on the board into 10 damage with 1 card. However, you have to really consider the consistency. Like, how often are you going to get this card in your hand, like turns 1 to 3, and you wish you had a 1-drop, or you wish you had removal, you wish you had card draw to draw into your units. So, like, there's just a lot of cards which, if somebody, like, brand new came to the game and didn't know anything about meta decks, they could conceivably look at this and be like, oh, this seems like it would be an obvious card to put into any sort of air deck. It looks very powerful. But these days we are much more refined. We're running much more unit based decks. Like, there's more units as well as more card draw. If we look through this deck, we will see 4 convoys, no Lend-Lease. 4 convoys, no research. Well, research wasn't a card yet. And no ultra. Ultra also was sort of a later addition into the deck. At first, people were like, good players are just going to play around ultra. Why would you waste 3 credits holding up a countermeasure if your opponent's just going to play around it? It sort of took later till people realized, well, you can really put your opponent in a situation where they have to play into ultra, or they lose. And then there's some mind games where you float 3 credits without ultra, but your opponent doesn't play their order because they think you have ultra. Ultras leads to all sorts of interesting situations. And, of course, the main change of cards, most of these cards have remained untouched. It was the Wellington and the Spitfire, which both came later, that were then nerfed. Um, Close air support used to be give a target unit +1/+1 for every British air unit you control. So if you have 3 British air units on the board, it is a 1 credit, give a unit +3/+3. Any unit. It can be British, it can be Japanese, it can be an artillery, an infantry, a tank, one of your British air units. Um, and you would use this to great extent with Finest Hour, we know and love, or we know and hate, with Hurricane. So, Hurricane plus Finest Hour is 9 credits, 10 damage. Hurricane plus Finest Hour plus Close Air Support is for every British air unit that Close Air Support does 2 damage. Because it's a +1/+1 buff on a Fury unit that's attacking twice. Which means if you have 3 air units, like you have 2 British air units on the board and you do Hurricane, Finest Hour, Close Air Support, you're now dealing 16 damage burst for 10 credits. If you have 2 Close Air Supports, you're now dealing 22 damage burst for 11 credits. And you might think, oh, there's so many cards you need to set up. That's not that hard. Like, you just sort of hold cards in your hand, and most decks can't realistically play around it. Of course, you can try to do guards and stuff. Another thing specific to this deck, because the Hurricanes and Spitfires really saw play until the Close Air Support change, is Goshikin. Now, you can do, of course, Goshikin Finest Hour, which will be 9 credits, basically hit any unit for 8, and it dies. Like, basically Grengards and a handful of the heavy armor tanks are the only units that are going to survive this. So you can use this to just sort of nuke a Seaforth, and then you're left over with an 8/6 air unit that's immune on your turn. Of course, you can also do Goshikin plus Finest Hour plus, not for the Emperor, Burst of Fire, which is 3 cards, 12 credits, 18 damage. And if you throw in For the Emperor into there, it's a 4-card lethal combination from empty board. So this deck just had insane burst potential along with the just early Swordfish Gladiator. The reason you ran Japan Ally is air superiority was absolutely insane. 1 credit, deal 3 damage. Now obviously we have Red Dawns that basically do the same thing, and air superiority has fallen out of favor. But this card is still one of the craziest cards in the game, to be completely honest. And yeah, we're going to play this deck out. We're going to try it out, I should say. I mean, we're running 2 Japanese units, so normally I've been lately trying not to change the decks too much to play them in their original form. For the Emperor is just, like, essentially a dead card. So I'm going to try to replace it with cards that people would realistically have played at the time, to try to keep this deck still set in the time period. I'm not going to throw in, like, Wellington Spitfire. Now, you usually actually didn't run a ton of Japanese units. In later versions of this deck actually just dropped down to air superiority being the only Japanese card. Some people ran Sendai. Again, it sort of addresses that, like, guard situation. If you're trying to set up lethal. So I'm going to run 1 Sendai, and I'll throw in Ultra, because there were some people running Ultra. And this is going to be played on ladder. I'm currently rank 101. I suspect this is going to do much better than our previous, some of our previous Throwback Thursdays, especially the last one, the discard one. And, yeah, I've heard there's talks there might, be, like, a future video essay sort of thing on the history of Brit Air. Not by me. I'm not that talented of a video maker, but I wish I was. That sounds really interesting. Maybe I'll try the video essay format in the future. Now, against Japan, it's probably Jagro. I'm going to keep HMS. I just love keeping HMS. I keep it against almost anything. Swordfish, turn 1. Going second, it's a little riskier, especially if they have a, like, cavalry or bicycle that pulls a beef. They did full mulligan. Kitty Hawk is just a deployment effect against Jaguar. You really want tempo. And if he does have a 1-drop, that prevents you from playing Swordfish. Ooh. I think the correct play is to play Swordfish anyways, and then hope he doesn't have type 93. Because if he has type 93, that sucks, but then I can get it with the Hurricane. Or not the Kitty Hawk in 2 turns. Also, the alternative is kind of just passing. And I think this is just close air support hip Fiat. This is a really rough start. But as long as he doesn't get down like a one of those 6/6s really fast, this is going to be pretty rough. I think that Fiat needs to go. So I'm gonna do this. It's pretty unlikely that the Swordfish dies. It's also pretty unlikely that the Swordfish accomplishes anything. Okay, he gets a ground unit on the board, which means I can do Kitty Hawk. I mean, I can play Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk does go face. I just want to get some sort of board control out of it. Ooh, okay. There's a couple of different things I could do. I can just immediately sendai the key. I can shelling to get 2 draws out of it first. Which, like, I do shelling, I draw 2, he draws 1, and then I sendai it. I think I kind of like the sound of that. Because if I do sendai first, he might just air superiority it, like he has an air deck. Soul of Old Japan. Shockingly, we're actually still at the same health totals. And he might be running the 4K 6/6 if you have more health card. Here's an interesting question. What do I do this turn? I think Sendai's kind of gonna come out regardless. I could play out just an albacore. And the reason of that would be he can't trigger, like he's gonna have to trade into it, which means he can't trigger. I shouldn't have played it like that because bombing raid. That was a mistake, but he can't trigger Rule the Skies if he wants to. Second honorable death draw to get back key is really good for him. I can actually just do albacore HMS. Or not HMS, Albacore Empire Strikes. Oh my, he got the second key. Okay, well this is pretty rough. Yeah, I can just do this to take out one of them. Got the second key off of Soul of Old Japan. Hopefully he still has to trade into the Albacore. Because if I get hit in the face for 6, it's pretty bad. Okay. If you guys double face, I think this is rough. We have HMS double cast. We can even do HMS triple cast, but that's pretty unnecessary. Also I guess we wouldn't really have the credits to go face afterwards. So we'll do double, sack the lower health unit. Again, actually not ideal bombing raid setup. Now, without Marinara Storm and without research, we have no healing in the deck. So we're kind of just stuck on 5. If he has Blitz, he has Blitz. He has Blitz Trade. That's very odd. I can get the Goshiken down. Hurricane ends the game faster. So I think that's what I'm going to want to play. So that's 4, 5, 6. We do have the credits to do Convoy if we're doing that. Okay. This is going to drop to 2 health. Which means I think I want to do something like this. Hopefully I'm not just like dead to Tony or something stupid. I mean, the fact that Shiden traded, and the fact that he played it is odd, because he could have just like waited a few turns. Okay. So I currently don't have a way of killing that. There's a few cards in my deck which would let me do that. This is closing in on lethal. I'm tempted to Convoy instead of... Well, no, I should get the Goshiken down. I think I want to get it down there. And then also get the Gladiator down. And I'm going to hold on to the Finest Hour Burst of Fire. I could have done Finest Hour attack, deal 6 more damage. Has the Desperate. This is lethal if both of these survive. And got him. So this shows the strength of Burst of Fire. This 2-2 fighter suddenly deals 5 damage. Or not 5 damage, 10 damage, because it swings for 5 twice. And closes out the game. Now, Burst of Fire, yeah, is a really powerful card. I'm honestly kind of curious if Japan ally with the modern day double Lend-Lease, like triple Convoy Research Ultra sort of setup, might actually make Japan ally. It's hard to beat Fiat. Like, Fiat is just absolutely insane and it adds a ton of early game. The problem with Japan, and like, US ally has the Greyhounds. The problem with Japan is you have air superiority, which is very high tempo, lets you fight for the board early. But if you're against a deck like Germany, Italy, control, then it doesn't really matter about your ability to answer their early stuff. It just matters your ability to stick a unit on the board. And if you only have 6 1-drops in your deck and the first like 3 or 4 die to countermeasure sudden strikes, flame panzers, then you're not really doing much. I'm not going to keep the cast, I don't think. Yeah, mulliganing for air superiority. Against Jaguar, I would rather use air superiority to take out his early units than trading with a fighter. That is, obviously, if it's a bomber, taking free kills is pretty good. Is this also not going to be Jaguar? Alright. I'm going to hold on to the Albacore because it could just be some sort of control deck with AoEs. I don't want to play into like Imperial Tora and suddenly have no units. That's really strong in this situation. Do I let him keep that? I could do Albacore yeah, I'm playing Albacore. I think I want to play close air support. And I think I just want to kill that. And this is another problem with the Japan ally deck, is you really just run out of cards super fast. Like, you hand dump incredibly quickly. Even more reason to run Lend-Lease. So it is the Poland ally. And he has... I mean, honestly, these two cards are both very good for him to have. We'll take out one of these. Probably just sack the Raft. If he has KARDS, lets him activate either the Empire Strikes or the air sub. And he probably got the air sub if he's doing that. He can clean up the bomber. Yep. That's really bad. Then the interesting question is, do I play this? Because like, if I hold on to it, Finest Hour at just any point is lethal without guards. However, he's almost certainly going to have guards. Bombing rate is gone. And Japan, Poland doesn't have a ton of removal. Like, he has bounce. He has the Takasagi, which is going to get sendai'd, and then I hit face v6. I mean, I guess bombing rate gone is just strictly better to play it here. So we drop him to 5. Which activates home defense. That's bad. Second Takasaki. That's really rough. Now I can return the Takasagi. Or sorry, I can return the Chinu, double hit Takasagi, and then I can't actually an attack phase, and I lose one of these cards in hand. I think Albacore Empire Strikes is best here. And of course Albacore the tank. And do I hit this? Probably not. I could move up. I think I would rather pass and make him think about Ultra. Some players are like super conservative. I almost said ultra conservative. Some players are super conservative and will just not play anything. A double long range recon, that's good for him. What can I do? I can push this. So 1, 6, 8, 9. I lose Swordfish. Not ideal. I'll do 1, 2. I like that better. Take out this. And blitz units like Raiding Brigade, Scheiden. Those are the main ways he has to deal with that. Hopefully he doesn't just have to the last man. That would suck. And without Lend-Leases, it's pretty difficult to imagine coming back in this situation. I would need a series of draws and for also him not to have guards. And this guy just has guards for days. Tora, and desperate measures to get Takasagi back. It's a good draw. It's a pretty good series of draws. The Goshiken's probably just going to be retreated. But I might stick the Swordfish. Empire of the Sun, because of course. Man, some people build end sneak attack. Some people build Japan, Poland so greedy. Do I just want to kill one of these? I actually don't know. It's unlikely this guy will ever leave his headquarters not guarded. I think it is wrong to assume that guy will be that bad at the game. So I'm gonna hit that. The question is, do I want to just take out one of the Takasakis now, or is it better to keep this? I think it's probably better to just kill one now. Maybe it's actually better to kill the other one. Or not kill the other one, hit the other one, leave them on with a 2-2 and a 2-4. Might need to keep this, to be completely honest. Like, this game is pretty over. But if I have any chance of coming back, it's probably going to involve Finest Tower. My goodness. How does he even fit double of these? Tora killed the higher attack one. I mean, if we're winning the game, it's through this. Like, I need him to move up all his guards. And then I top deck, like, a Goshiken. And then also at some point do, like, Monty into Convoy into HMS. And he runs redeployment. This guy's deck is terrible. Just want to make that abundantly clear. Well, we're just dead, but maybe he misses lethal, you never know. Yeah, if you want to see a better Japan-Poland deck, I never uploaded it to YouTube, but I did a stream where I built a deck based on chat suggestions. There's actually the Goshiken. Is he gonna miss lethal? He still technically has the credits to do it, and he missed lethal. Okay. Wow. He gets the Goshiken too. I mean, I'm curious if he's trolling or what. Okay, I don't think he was trolling. I think he's just bad. Okay. Like, obviously the uprising was BM. But I think him missing lethal was just him missing lethal. And yeah, I mean, it is really difficult for these decks to come back from when they're behind. However, control decks at the time were not as efficient. Like, there just wasn't as many crazy control cards as there is now. The game was much simpler back in January 2021. So, this is the third Japan? Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully this one is actually Jaggro, because this is a pretty good hand against Jaggro. But yeah, as we saw, he basically never ran out of cards, had an infinite flow of guards, and I ran out of cards on, like, turn 6. Air used to really be tempo, tempo, tempo. Now it's moved. It's still very tempo oriented, but it's moved towards more. I think it actually. Well, I'm gonna play it here. It's moved towards sort of burn, in some extent. Like, it's sort of burn against control, and against everything else, it's value. Like, you just never run out of cards in hand. Like, it's board control, not value. Value is the wrong way of explaining that. if I hit face, I could just do HMS. Um, this probably hits here. It's another Japan, Italy, air. I could also play Hurricane. If I hit face, it means this probably drops to 2. However, it also means I'm not doing anything. I think I'm gonna do this. I mean, sort of forces him to either take 2 damage on this, which would be very beneficial. Is he just gonna air sub the bomber and hit face? No, so that does take the damage. That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna play out the Hurricane. It gives him the opportunity to double trade or like burst of fire, hit face trade. Yeah, I'll just do a 2 damage swordfish. Or by 2 damage swordfish, I mean swordfish, 2 damage empire strikes. He still has more health than me, which is unfortunate, but is he actually going to, okay, it's interesting. I can double trade with Hurricane. Oh my goodness. So, I could just play Raph. Raph the Fiat, probably. However, I think it's better to do this. Is it worth Finest Hour? I really doubt it. Gonna do this, and then next turn I can Raph whatever the big unit is. He might play the 6/6. Atsu. Alright, well I will Raph Atsu. And I can even Monty before. I probably want to hold on to Monty, I think. Try to set up Monty to keep bombers on the board. Probably. Yeah, I'll hold on to Monty for now. I think the odds that we get card draw off it on the future is basically guaranteed. Yep, just has full board. Now the Monty comes out. Return Atsu to hand. Kill the 0-op unit. That's not 22nd, 61st. It's a very surprising card to see. That's actually a very good draw. This lets me double trade. So it's 5 to take out that. 7. I leave him with just Nate. There's also 5 Swordfish Finest Hour, which might encourage him to trade. Oh, wait, I can't. I was thinking this still had 5 health, so I have to do it this way. Like that. Like that. Like that, and then I can throw out Swordfish, which hopefully absorbs some damage. And this would be a really good place to have some air subs. Another Machi. signal 6-6, and I'm out of fiats, and I'm down. Monty, this is probably game over. Can do triple sack, and I'm not technically dead. That doesn't sound great. I can do HMS, finest hour Cass. No, I don't even have the credits for that. Is there anything I can get off of Convoy? Because I can't draw into Shelling. I can't draw into Wrath even if I had any in the deck. Yeah, I mean, I'm technically not dead like this, although I have almost no way to kill Signal. If I draw an air sup, I can do Albacore, air sup to kill Signal, because I'm dropping to 1 health here. However, I would need to do, like, Convoy. Okay. Yeah, I would have to do, like, Convoy, Shelling, Albacore, air sup, something like that. We will play one more. And hopefully it's not against Japan. So we have a win against Japan, Italy, a loss against Japan, Italy, and a loss against Japan, Poland. And the last deck will be US. Against US, if it's ramp, keeping Hurricane can honestly be really, really good. Against mid-range, it's not as good. It just sort of gets hit by half-track. But against ramp, you can just honestly throw out Hurricane on 3 and then hit them in the face. For 6 on 4. Ooh. Yeah, it's actually better to play Albacore here. Because if he plays out 30 seconds, I can kill both with the bombers. He doesn't have enough credits to do 35T. So that's gonna die. And I could move this up to stop 35T, because now I can do 30-second 35T kill Albacore. However, I think I'd rather just develop the Gladiator and hope he doesn't have it. Doesn't have it and misses the draw. So, pretty dominant situation. You could have Whirlwind here to kill Albacore. That'd actually be really annoying. Or he just surrenders. Neat. We'll do one more. That was unexpectedly short, and it's a faster deck. And if we get another 11 points, we will have made up for all of the elo we lost. And we're against Baron von Glauer. Glauer? I don't know how you pronounce the W here. It's another Japan. Gonna keep Airsoft. I mean, do I just assume it's Japan Air at this point? Like, I think everybody really wants to try out the new card. So if I'm assuming it's Japan Air, I probably don't even keep these. I mean, there's, like, the 1/1 tanks that you could still run in Japan Air. I'll keep like that. I think I sent back Kitty Hawk. I need one of my 1-drops. Type 94. Please tell me it's not just Jagro. I don't think I killed that. It doesn't activate 35Ts. I can Albacore it next turn. I think I want to save Air Sub for something slightly more dangerous. And it's looking a lot like Jagro. Jagro without a good hand, but it's looking a lot like Jagro. top decks the 1-drop to activate 35T, and I'm losing. Now, I can't play that. I can do Hurricane, which threatens to double trade with the into the tank and then the Bicycle Regiment. Now, I do drop to 11 health before doing that, and he can pin it. Sendai. Fair enough. And I think I kill the tank. Obviously I can kill the Sendai, that's not going to win me the game here. We do have to be honest about that. I think I kill the tank. I take 1 more damage this way, but now I can kill both of these, keeping Hurricane alive without additional play by him. He's going to pin it. And has the key, which means I am dead. Alright, well, dead lost on turn 5. That is the encyclopedia. Yeah, it was finally Jagro, and yeah, actually Kitty Hawk would have been pretty good. Alright, -9, that's not too bad, but I'll call it a day here. We went 2 and 3, not great, but I mean, yeah, the games speak for themselves. Yeah, so let me know if there's any more decks you want to see. These decks recently have all been my decks, just since I have the codes for those buried deep in DMs and emails for deck submission. It's a lot harder to figure out exact lists for other players, but let me know if there's any specific tournament, any specific deck, any specific meta, nation, player, etc. that you want to see in upcoming Throwback Thursdays. And tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. EST, there is the OCC at the KARDS on the KARDS main Twitch channel. I will be playing there. Birdo will be playing there. There's a couple of the regulars, myself, Birdo, Tang, back from his brief hiatus after being banned for cheating. He's back. So was Princess, also banned for cheating. He's back. No one's there, and some other players who I'm currently blanking on, to be completely honest. Actually, I have it open in a tab. I have the deck lists open. Let me pull this up here. I know this is a bit of a longer outro to the video, but oh yes, of course, Ari Big Ben is back into an OCC. It's been a while. Kill Switch. He's basically becoming a regular at this point. And Dio, who is a new player, up and coming. Haven't seen them before. They just missed out on top 6, but then fought their way through qualifiers, so we'll be interested to see how they play. But yeah, again, you can catch that tomorrow morning if you're in North America, tomorrow afternoon if you're in Europe. And I will be going over my lineup strategy, because it's slightly different. You will see I have some slightly spicy decks. I have a deck I made a while ago, but have never brought to a live-streamed tournament, and I have a brand new deck, and I have Brit. So it's going to be slightly different from my opponents. I don't want to reveal why I brought them and what decks I think they're good into, what decks I think they're weak into, because obviously I want my opponents to be not confident on what to ban, not confident on what I'm going to ban. So I will do my lineup video after. Like, I will record it after the tournament, and that way I can add in how the tournament went, how my strategy played out. Did I win the tournament? Did I get like second, third? Did it work very well? Did it not work at all? Did I lose in the first round? If I lost in the first round, was it because I got unlucky? Was it because the strategy was a complete flop? Did my opponent happen to bring good decks against it, and I had an incorrect read on the what decks were going to be there? So I get to talk all about that and how the tournament actually went, on top of explaining what my strategy was going into it, and I can say what changes I would make with hindsight. But yeah, again, tomorrow, OCC, Cards Main Discord, and the following weekend is the round of 128 World Championships. So the World Championships is right around the corner, and all of that and more will be covered here on my channel. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.